Every kilo of fat that you burn, you actually generate 1.1 liters of water. Right. So your mitochondria actually make water when you're burning fat. And so you actually hydrate yourself internally.
They're like mini Jesus is fat to water instead of water to wine.
Professor Tim Noakes has done a lot of studies now. Now, he was a big carb proponent for most of his career. He's one of the top sports medicine doctors in the world. He knows, you need carbs for high-level performance. He's working with all these pro athletes and teams. Very, very reputable guy. Really one of the most reputable guys in the field. And then like 15 years ago, he went like, holy shit, I was wrong. And he's basically spent the last 15 years trying to undo his own legacy.
Wow.
Right? And they attacked him. They tried to destroy him. They tried to take his medical license away, just like they did here with Gary Fettke.
Wow.
And I think that a lot of that came from, the food companies trying to destroy him because he was making big waves and big names. And they're like, shit, this is killing our cereal sales. They said that. Low carb down under here in Australia.
He's a serial killer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I was just going to say in regards to, so you talked about creating our own carbs, and as far as I'm aware...
Oh, yeah, and there was any negative impacts because it's the most studied. Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, carbohydrates, specifically for what I'm doing, like with my ultra running and performance-based, not well-being and lifestyle, but performance-based and elite performance, like AFL we're talking about, what sort of impact is it going to have there? If we can create our own carbs, do I need to have heavy carbs before I go do this ultra run, for example?
No, you don't. In fact, I just interviewed a guy who he's over in Sydney, and he's not a runner. He's never run a marathon. He's never done anything like that, but he's been carnivore for 12 years and carnivore for a number of years. And he just wanted to prove this principle that you have more than enough energy in your body. And he's not like not like a porky dude. He's actually quite slim.
Yeah.
That you have 10, 20 times the amount of energy. You right now in a slim frame have 10, 20 times the amount of energy available in your fat stores than you'll ever get by fully maximally packing glycogen into your liver and muscles. Right? Okay. And
it's just purely because of how it's stored and released.
Yeah, it's much more effective, more energy dense. Yeah. So it is our energy storage capacity. That's how we store it. Glycogen is a short-term fuel source. It's fat. Fat's our major fuel source. That's our gas tank, right? Yep. And so we're not utilizing that properly if we sort of eat carbohydrates and raise your insulin and stop being able to access your fat.
Yeah.
So he wanted to sort of demonstrate this. So he was not a runner. He's never run a marathon in his life. And so he decided to run 5 marathons in 5 days without eating.
Yeah, right.
So he, to give it structure, he ate Sunday, then he ran marathon Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday ran the Sydney Marathon, and then ate Saturday night. And didn't even eat that much. He's had a couple burger patties. That's all he wanted.
So what the fuck? We need to tell Timmy Franklin that.
Yeah. Well, I am aware that you could definitely do it, but I'm more talking from the best performance. Like I'm going to get the best performance out of myself.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Like you can perform better? And I'm interested because it could be a great experiment for me. I've got 7 weeks leading into this. I could maybe potentially go carnivore into this and then try and do it.
Or do what you're doing now because you've only got 7 weeks.
Yeah.
And then next year, do it and control it a little bit.
The thing, 7 weeks is enough.
Yeah. And so also like the way I'm training, like way I train.
You're not training.
I'm not training. I run to and train to basically to resistance and just past strain. And I listen to my body. That's how I do it. And leading into this, I'm going to get a bit extra run in my legs. I'm not going to be a fucking idiot about it. But same with my diet. Like I don't focus on it. I don't care about it. I just eat well. And then when it comes to the race, I'd listen to Corey. Corey will go, right, okay, here's your hydration plan because that's fucking important for the run. I get that. But, he would give me these carbohydrates, these gels that I should be having for maximum energy. If I don't go down that path, what should I do for the race?
Just run.
Run.
Yeah, it's haul ass.
It's running.
Yeah. So you check out Paul Mason, his buddy of mine, Dr. Paul Mason. He's a super interesting guy. Like guy's like just so well read. Like he's just ridiculous, and he gives really, really good presentations. Very clear. Anyone can understand. It's not like he talks over anyone's head or anything like that. But he's very smart, and he's the type of guy. Like he only works 4 days a week because he said 1 day a week I want to just read studies. The whole day he just reads studies, and so he sort of manufactures his week in a way that one whole day he can just read studies. The guy just knows freaking everything. And so, and he's a sports medicine doctor. This is his whole field, and that's exactly what he's saying. He did a talk on YouTube about ketogenic athletes. I forget the name of it, but anyway, he goes through all of this, and he goes through exactly that. So, like I was saying, he presented a study there that in human athletes, that people that were ketogenic athletes actually recovered their glycogen faster than carb athletes sucking down those energy packs, those carb fuels and the sugar water and things like that.
So the time it takes for you to eat it, process it, gain the benefit from it, your body will produce or restore what you've lost.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
More. Yeah. And faster.
So is that just more of a mental boost then? If you have it, you feel the energy going in and you mentally run better?
Well, no, but the thing is you never run out. That's the whole point. Is it's like when you're running that marathon, when you're doing that ultra, when you're doing those sorts of things, you get to a point where you're hitting the wall.
Yes.
And you're just like, oh God, now I need to eat this. Well, people used to hit the wall and they used to not do that. And they used to keep pushing and pushing until they broke through the wall.
Yeah.
And so when you break through the wall, then you get your second wind, you get your runner's high, and then you can just go forever.
Yeah.
That's what they used to do. Now you're just refeeding and refueling. Well, breaking through the wall, what that's doing is actually forcing yourself into a ketogenic state. So, you've run out of glycogen in your muscles in your liver and you feel like crap. And you can't go anywhere and you can't access your fat stores. And normally it takes like 24, 48 hours to really start generating these ketones properly and being able to do that, at least 18, 24 hours anyway. And so just pushing forces that just metabolic state change. Now you have to start making energy or you die. So your body just has to force that through. And all of a sudden, you just feel great and you just go. I've done that. I've felt that. But now I live that because I'm always past the wall. Because I'm always in that metabolic state where I'm constantly making my blood sugar and glycogen and ketones. So I've never hit the wall since then.
I never, and maybe I'm different, but I've never felt like I needed food or energy during a race ever or a run. I've
never felt like I needed a race.
I've only ever felt sore, and that's all. That's really
functional, right? As opposed to
exactly. Yeah, I never to be fair, I was having carbs and whatnot, but even when I can get through. I do the fasts like no food, 3-4 day fast, no problem. I don't find it. First time I ever did one, I got fucking proper hangry. Yeah, hated everyone for a couple of hours and then woke up the next day fine. But I maybe I'm different, but like
I eat too much. I fucking get.
I think once you've done bad. One or two,
I think what was it, 10 days the last one that I did.
Yeah, you did
first and only, but. We should create our own games, Carnivore versus Carnivore, like the Carnivore games. And
I just wish it just
seems before and after.
It's for me, it's a scary thing to try and change before something so dramatic as an ultra that I'm putting a lot of effort into getting my best time that I've done. Yeah. It would be interesting. And what would I do with hydration? Would I have to pick my hydration salts? Specific to have no sugar in them?
You would definitely want nothing with any sweeteners or anything like that. No sugars, no sweeteners.
Because then it would take away the whole point.
Exactly, yeah. You bang up your insulin. There are different studies. Some studies say that it doesn't affect your insulin and blood sugar. Others say that artificial sweeteners do. But then I've seen in patient populations, some people with a constant glucose monitor and they take artificial sweeteners, like, it doesn't do anything to it. And then other one's like, wow, it just makes it go crazy. So it seems to be some sort of difference in the individual. Yeah. Hey guys, just want to take a second to thank our sponsor, Carnivore Bar. I don't promote many products because honestly, all you need to be healthy is to just eat meat. For those times that you're out hiking, road tripping, or stuck at work and you want a nutritious snack that is just meat, fat, and salt if you want it, the Carnivore Bar is a great option. So I like this product not because it's just pure meat, but also because I want the carnivore market to thrive as well. And the more we support meat-only products, the more meat-only products there will be available in the mainstream. So if this sounds like something you'd like to get behind, check it out using my discount code Anthony to get 10% off, which also applies to subscriptions, giving you 25% off total. All right, thanks guys.
I'm interested. I'll look into this because if I can find the hydration that will be sufficient and not put me into that state,
well, you can.
I potentially would try this. Would I be able to eat running around like chicken or meat or beef or something
you
like
definitely
that
can.
as a source of energy if I wanted it? Or
I go with like carnivore bar. I'll give you some carnivore bars.
Oh yeah, that sort of stuff would work.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. Yeah, and you just get fat. I mean, that's what you want.
Because Corey Green, who's the guy who gives me all my advice, he comes on the podcast quite often from Athletic Institute. He agrees with probably like 95% of what you say as well. So I think he'd be on that sort of way of thinking as well. I'd be interested to see what he'd say in regards to elite performance as well. So I'll have a chat with him as well. But yeah, that's...
Well, it's this dude 5 marathons in 5 days, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's an ultra length.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And not in one go, but he didn't eat the whole time, and so that energy is there. So you don't actually necessarily need to refeed. And there's a lot of carnivore marathon runners that don't even drink water on the day.
Yeah.
And because every kilo of fat that you burn, you actually generate 1.1 liters of water. Right. So your mitochondria actually make water when you're burning fat.
Okay.
And so you actually hydrate yourself internally.
They're like mini Jesus's, fat to water instead of water to wine.
This is interesting. It's
but
quite serendipitous timing. Could work out well.
Yeah.
Good experiment anyway.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I like drinking water. I drink a lot of water before game days and things like that during the game. So I've never had a problem with that. But I know people that do that, that don't drink a lot of water.
I guess the argument would be like, yeah, that's fine. He could probably do that once for 5 days.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to not eat and then have 1 day eating and do another 5 days, 1 day eating 5 more days.
At some point, you think,
You run out of energy, yeah. And so that's the thing, but
it's not repeatable.
Well, but the thing is that you just refeed, right? And so if you're going to do ultras, you generally don't do like ultras like back to back and all that stuff. But you don't have to fast. I mean, this was just a demonstration that there's a lot of energy.
Because if I was lost in the jungle, I'd be forced to walk a marathon every day until I found refuge and food.
And so, but that is more my question. So for the best possible for performance in that 80 kilometers, I could potentially perform better.
I think you should do either one way and next year do one the other, because the only factor that you can't control there is age. Everything else you could control almost identically for the week leading up.
Yeah. So there have been studies. So Professor Tim Noakes has done a lot of studies now. Now he was a big carb proponent for most of his career. He's one of the top sports medicine doctors in the world. You need carbs for high level performance. He's working with all these pro athletes and teams. Very, very reputable guy. Really one of the most reputable guys in the field. And then like 15 years ago, he went like, holy shit, I was wrong. No,
it's pretty rare. Really. What happens if you're wrong? Are you going to be able to change your mindset?
I was wrong. That's why I'm saying this shit now.
But I mean, what if it turns out that all your carnivore
100%.
Because that's the hardest part, because you've got so much on the line.
But the thing is that the only reason I'm talking about this is because it's what I've seen the best evidence show, and it's complete departure from what I was taught. In a lot of these things, I'm not just regurgitating this because someone taught it to me in college. I've done years and years and years of research on this, and from multiple different fields. And so I think wow, this is really it, and it has worked extremely well for me and my family and my patients. And I'm just seeing it again and again and again and again and again. And so it's like, well, I can't not share this with people.
What was Tim Noakes' what was the thing that helped him realize?
I don't know what's coming around. I'm actually going to be interviewing him in the next couple of weeks.
Cool.
And and so I'm actually like an ambassador for the Tim Noakes Foundation. They do a lot of really good work. In South Africa. And so, and I've done a couple of interviews on there.
Interesting. There's not many carbs there, is there?
But yeah, so he I don't know what made him switch, but anyways, he just saw the evidence of this stuff in his ketogenic diets, and wow, this is really this is really different. And he's basically spent the last 15 years trying to undo his own legacy.
Wow.
Right. And they attacked him. They tried to destroy him. They tried to take his medical license away, just like they did here with Gary Fettke.
Wow.
And I think that a lot of that came from the food companies trying to destroy him, because he was making big waves and big names, and they're like, shit, this is killing our cereal sales. They said that. Low carb down under here in Australia.
He's a serial killer.
Yeah, exactly. They actually sued for the minutes of this cereal company. I don't know which one. And they found that in the minutes of this board meeting, they were saying, they were like, hey, this damn ketogenic diet movement is killing our cereal cells. We need to attack these doctors around the world. And they named like Gary Fettke by name.
Wow.
There's just this little, guy in Tasmania doing orthopedic surgery,
That's disgusting.
On mitochondria actually being damaged, but now we know that they're actually not damaged, and it's just completely full of shit. They actually are. And you can see this under electron microscope, where the internal membrane is called the cristae, is just gutted. It's just gone. And so that's the thing in biology, form equals function. And so if the form is damaged, they won't be able to go through the function. So if it doesn't have that internal membrane, it doesn't have an internal membrane to generate ATP.